Hello everyone, welcome to this new video of the series where I'm making a new character for Touhou 3 using the new CharacterEngine mod. So that's the second video on Mamizou. The first one was a bunch of setup still, and I made the idle animation. This showed it partially how to make animations, and started working on transforming into the other character. Since last time I did all the other animation, which include but are not limited to blocking, flying, getting knocked down, getting hit, and all that. So basically all the quote-unquote system animations. That was quite a bit of work, so that's why I didn't show it. And I also fixed a bunch of issues related to being transformed. Basically, I just tested by playing as Mamizou against just regular characters. So it was just basically a mirror matchup. I had set it up so that it would be a mirror matchup and fixed the bugs along the way. There is still one issue I'm aware of, but it's not that bad of an issue. And today I plan on making moves, actually. So I have a few moves set up, at least the animations. So 5A, the 4-5A, the 6A, including charged, 2A, J5A, and then 2 skills. So that one is going to be Parry. So here it's the Parry animation, then the when it activates, and then the recovery. And the last one, obviously, it's the transform itself. Right now, the way I have it set up is that I transform by pressing F1, but it's obviously not going to work like that. So yeah, let's just get to it. So right now, if I just try to press keys, it just doesn't do anything because it's disabled in the code. So the first step is actually enabling everything. So I will just remove this, and now it's going to enable all the air moves. And the same for the ground. A grounded. Here I can just remove it. So right now, if I just do this, now I should be able to press the moves. Yeah, so here is 4A, 4A, yeah, 6A, okay, that one is, yeah, and J5A. So they are quite a bit broken, but at least the animation plays out properly. And oh, that one doesn't. Maybe I don't have the... I should though. Okay, so something isn't quite right here. Oh, it's because it's checking for far away because I copied the Touhou code. So I just remove this part. That part is for the far away, but I don't have a far away. Obviously. That's why it crashed. Now it should play the animation proper. Right. Okay, so first thing I'm noticing is that she's standing up, so... oh yeah, right. That's because the move isn't right. I can also slide by doing 4A and stuff. There is no sound, and obviously doesn't hit. even with the hitbox. Like that. So, let's start with 5A and 4A. So first of all, we will enable the collision. So we say that when we start the action 5A and the action 4A alike, first we reset the collision status to no collision. If you don't do this, then it will just not hit still, because the game will think the move already has collided. And then we have at one hit, so one collision. We also want the character to stop moving, so we just reset the speed. And now we should have at least something that makes a bit more sense. It should collide and we should stop sliding. Right. Yeah, obviously the dial doesn't work. Right. So I didn't really pay much attention to the damage values. I'd probably fix them later. The sound also isn't quite right. It's just a basic slap, but it's actually not a. It is a repeatable jab, right? So I don't want Mamizou to have repeatable jabs. So I'm going to disable that as well. So A grounded. There is one check for 4A so that it's repeatable. Here we are checking if you are already doing a 4A, but it's not repeatable. So let's remove this. And it's probably the case as well for 2A, right? Like that. If I change my mind on making it a light, then I just remove it. The freeze frame is on the smear frame, so the weird part where it extends. I don't really like that, so I'm just going to change it. So I'm just going to put the smear frame before, without the hitbox, obviously. For 2 frames, right? We just balance. So that's the startup. Then we have the hit, actual hit. And I remove the hitbox. It should still be in my clipboard. So here. Right. Like that. It should look better. Usually at the rule of thumb, when I make moves, I first try to make them look good, and then I mess around with the values. I didn't export it. Or did I? Oh, that's 5A, right. So now it's looking good. And I need to change that as well for 4A. If you're making a light character, these two should be connected. So when you make changes to one, it makes changes to the other as well. On a non-light character, though, that's not the case, because on 4A you have a counter hit state at the start, but not on 5A. That's apparently the same for all heavy characters. Now it should look perfect. Obviously I didn't recompile the code, so it's still repeatable. Now it's no longer repeatable. Okay, so right now the move just works, but there is no sound when it's actually playing, which is not the case for other characters. That's not the right button. Right, so there is a sound like this even with. So let's just add this. The way it works is a bit dirty, but that's also the way the game is made. So yeah, I just make it the same. So in this big switch statement, usually I just go here where the moves start. So right now there is none, obviously. You add one for 4A and 5A again. And then there is this always. For grounding moves is this function. There is another one for air moves. Then we check the end of the animation, and if it's the end of the animation, then we go to the idle. Otherwise, we go. We check if the pose is this frame. So it's the third frame. Actually, the fourth because it starts at 0. So it's the pose number 3. Pose ID is 3, and the pose frame is 0. So the pose frame is the number of frames we have been in that pose ID. So we just want it on the first. And then we play sound effects, and we will play the sound effects of medium attack. And now we do have a sound. So now I just do the same for 2A. The only difference is that I start crouched when I end the move. And here it's the same code actually. Right, so that one is also on the similar frame, but it doesn't look as bad as the other one. So I just leave it that way for now. So now there is also J5A and 4-5A. So 4-5A, she like does tail attack, but I think it should move forward at least a bit. So it's not going to be the exact same code. So for the 4-5A, so that doesn't change, but she will have a bit of forward momentum when starting, and just the same, she will need the sound, so that should be the same. Though the pose ID is probably different. Never mind, it's actually the same. like that, and we also want her to slow down a bit. So if it's bigger than 0, then we just reduce it by 1 point. Let's see how it goes. Okay, the thrust is not quite enough, so let's make it quite a bit bigger actually. Maybe 25. I think 25 is way too much, but we'll see. I also need to be worried about the quote-unquote Mari side. Ooh, yeah, it's a bit too much. She's zooming. 17. I don't really think too much about the values, I just try and see. Okay, I think the issue is not the actual thrust, it's the reduce part. So I just reduce it less. It's a lot of trial and error, but we'll get there. I'll probably make it a bit bigger, a bit more thrust still. Okay, I also need to increase the far range. So the far range should probably be here. So for that one though, I actually just look at the numbers. So it's around 100. Yeah, let's make it 120. So the far range is actually here. It's far range here. So 120. Yeah. Now that makes a bit more sense. Farfetch still moves that too much forward. Now it's no longer wall numbers, so I'm just going to add a check so that she doesn't move backward. Yeah, now it's fine, I think. The move is quite big though. We'll see. Now for the last melee, J5. So that one is airborne. So it's a bit different, but not that much. J5A. So we're going to do the same as here. Though it's falling. And we do apply air mechanics that time. We also want to check if we should go back on the ground, in which case we go back to the idle. And yeah, the rest is actually the same. So we play the move when we need to. Not play the move, play the sound. which is on frame 2. So it's pose ID 2. Still medium attack. And we also need this here. So it's actually just the same, but without the speed reset. But we'll also need to set the gravity to do we have it? Gravity, falling gravity, right? And now we also need to apply the gravity here. Otherwise she will still go to the moon. Somehow she has a really high gravity here. Because it's higher than jump gravity. Actually, I think I'm just going to just not reset the gravity and just set it to whatever it was before. So it will just have the gravity from the jump. Right? Right? Works flawlessly. Okay, so that's all the melees I'm going to do today. I'll probably do the rest off camera as well, because I don't think there is much to see. As for the two skills, so first of all, let's see. So that's going to be these two. I don't have any graphics. I'll probably do it later then. So the first one is the Parry. I think I'm going to make it a 6-3. So default 6-3B. It's going to be the very first skill. So default skill 1B. I don't plan on making a C version just yet. And the other one is going to be a 2-2, I think. Transform 2-2 makes sense. And right. So okay, actually let me just change the graphics just slightly, just so I can see which card I have in hand. So I'm just going to do this for the first one, and then on the second one, okay, I'm going to have to do this, I think. Card, the first one. I'm going to change the color. Okay, right, like that. So now I have two different cards, and so first things first. Let's make it so that we can use the skill again. So use skill. I think process skill airborne, inputs airborne. So it's probably process skills grounded, right? So first of all, we are going to check if you're pressing the 6-3 input. So the command combination 6-3B. Since So when you press 6 to 3, then we try to use the skill. The first one is whether or not we are doing the input, which is true here. The ID is 0 because it's the first skill, and the action is default 6 to 3 B. If we manage to run the skill, then we are done. Otherwise, we do the same for B, for the C, my bad, and for Touhou as well, because these are probably going to be the same. And these ones are the second skill. So now I should be able to use, at least trigger the skill, and then promptly get stuck. Yeah, exactly. So let's do a bit of programming then. Initialize action. It's about the same. On that one we can hit once, reset the speed, and we are on the skill 0. Otherwise we are on no skill. And on Touhou, B, we are on skill 1, but all of... Yeah, okay, I just reset the speed. So let's go back to where the moves are. Well, for the default 6 to 3, we are grounded. So first we do this, always. Then, so that moves the way it is set up. So I have 5 blocks. The first one is the startup of the move. Then the second one is the looping part of the animation, which is also quote-unquote the active frames of the parry. Then the third block is the recovery frames for when it whiffs, and when it triggers, it goes on the block 4, and then the recovery of block 4 is here. So it's actually like a bunch of parts. The way you access these in the code is through the sequence ID. Though note that for the pose ID, for example, it starts at 0, and in the frame data editor it starts as 0 as well, frame 0. But that's not the case for the blocks here, which are the sequences. Here they start at 0, but here they start at 1, so you always need to do -1. So if we are on sequence 1, so if we are on the looping part, then we just need to count frames. And if we have too many frames, so I know, let's say 20 frames active or something, then we go to the next sequence, which is the recovery. Like that. Otherwise, if we have collided, so that one is called invol. That means that something has tried to hit us. Then we go to the sequence number 3. We go to the sequence number 3, and we can also add some effects, for example. So, for example, I have one for the transform, like that. So that spawns a bunch of puff of smokes. with a bunch of smoke, and then we should probably play a sound as well. So where was it? Here. So we play the sound effect 0. Sound effect 0, which is in Mamizou data ACE, that one. Oh, actually, it's really loud. It's very, very loud. So like this. And then we also want to. So the way it works in AOCF, it's basically the same animation. She teleports above the opponent, and I'm probably going to do the same. So the X position of Mamizou is going to be her opponent's opponent position X. As for the Y position, it's going to be comically above, so probably something 400, so it's going to be off screen. Like this. Then, so there is, so if we are on the animation 3, the block ID 4 in the FDE, that means we are in the statue form. So we try to, so first of all, we try to go down. But in that case, we are in the air, so that doesn't work. So we want to do that one only when we aren't in the animation 3. So speed.y, it's -20, so she is going to be falling down pretty fast, maybe 12.5. I don't know, we'll adjust that later. So she's falling down. Then, if we touch the ground, in that case, we actually, let's just do it that way. Is on ground. Is grounded. Is on ground. What's the difference between the two? That one. I don't know. Well, that one is from the player, so it's probably that one I need. So if we are grounded now, we go to the next sequence, which is the recovery. Yeah, that should already work pretty nicely. There is going to be one issue. On width, it's going to go because of how it works. That one is not set to loop, so it's going to go at the end and then go to the next block, which is not exactly what we want. So we also want to say that if we are currently on the pose, if you are on pose ID 0 and we are currently on the frame 0 as well, that means we just ended. So I can go to idle. And stop here. And that should work just fine. Yeah. So here we have a Parry. And if we set it up so that we hit, okay, I didn't use the right move. So it's a melee parry. Okay, it's because of the, I guess it's the 236 that's doing this. No, I don't even know. Probably fat fingering the move. Okay. So that's somewhat works, but also not really. So first of all, she doesn't have an so it's not going down fast enough. So it probably needs to be set that, and then we increase the gravity by 1. Something like this. And also we need to reset this, obviously. That's why it doesn't hit. None, and we also need to reset the collision limit to 1. Now it's working. It's also very fast still. Can I block it? Yeah, I can. Is it a good thing? On that I can block it. I'm assuming on a 4-5A or something bigger I won't. Hello? I don't think I have time. Do I? I do have time. Oh, never mind, I don't. Yeah, I think I like it that way. So, that's for the parry. And now, the transform. So, same, I should have the Touhou setup. I still have this, obviously. Actually, before that, so I have it set so that the active frames of the parry is 20 frames. What I could do is that I could make it 10, then increase it by the skill level. Effective skill level. Okay, actually, now we are going to be a bit of research. What does it do for Yomu? What does it do for Yomu? So, skill cards alternate. Insightful Sword. It just improves damage. Which should also be the case here. Six frames of startup. Let's see, can you actually do the same and block it if you do it on the job? I don't have the right card. Oh, I don't have the card, obviously. You don't. You actually don't. Maybe I should make it better then. Because that's a bit of a bummer if it's that bad. Oh, it's 6xb actually, okay. Too bad on keyboard. Yeah, you really don't have time. Okay, so let's make it slightly better then. When it hits, I'm going to add some time stop to the opponent. So the opponent time stop. Going to make it 10 frames. That should be plenty. Actually, that didn't do anything. That's a problem. Why? Because it's not time stop. It's hit stop. It's hit stop. Yeah, now it just doesn't have enough time. Actually, on top of that, let's add a bit of sound to it. So I'm going to add the Tenshi J2A landing sound effect. I don't know which one it is, but we'll figure out. It's probably one of these, I guess. It's that one. The number 2. Lucky number 2. It's going to be the first. Not the first, the number 1. And we are going to have this. We need to reload the assets because I added a new file. And let's see. Hello. Kinda works. It's lacking some visual effects. But it's fine like this. I'd add the visual effects later. So for the level ups. So what I could do is make it so that you can it increases the number of active frames based on its level. So I don't know, maybe 5 new frames per level. So it's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's probably too much, but we'll see. This, and we also need to allow the character to use the card. So use card. it's actually can use cards. So right now we cannot. So we are going to say if the ID is 100, so it's the Parry. We can use it if we are grounded. If it's the transform, about the same. Right, okay, it's because it wants me to do it like this. So now we should be able to use the skill card. I don't have it, obviously. So it's that one. Okay, right. I can level it up. It has no name, but yeah, so it's about the same as before, and it should have a bit more now. It looks to have more, right? Compared to the first. Yeah. So that one is working. For the teleport, actually I can do this somewhat of the same trick for the startup. So teleport, it's the default tutu. There is a bunch that isn't here yet. So the way I want the teleport to work is have the default be on a timer. So you transform into the opponent, then you can untransform by pressing a skill input, and otherwise you have a timer that just runs out a bit. And if it completely runs out, then it's disabled and you get into an animation transforming back, which is punishable. So the idea is that you always want to keep the timer like not depleted, basically. But again, I may change that. And then for the two alts, probably the first alt is going to be you transform, then you get to use one move, and then you transform back immediately. And the last one, I think it's going to be somewhat permanent, and you even get to use the skills. But for one, you cannot transform back. You have to get hit to transform back, which is not that great. And it's also on charges, so you get to use it like 4 times period during the match. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's a bit too bad, but I really don't want to have situations where you just play as the opponent and that's it, and you just never transform back. So that's why I'm putting these limitations in place. But we'll see if it's too much. So basically, it's about like this. So we want to go. So that move, the way it's set up is that it's basically set up the same way. You have the startup and then a loop. That's just this. So what I'm planning on doing is that the same. If you're on the loop animation for too long, then you transform. So the way the transform work is that I need to put Mamizou in idle and transform like that. And it's actually the opposite, maybe remove 2 frames per level. So at the start it's like 15, and at level max it would be 4, so it would be math 7. 7 plus 6, that's a bit too much, I think. A bit too much. Let's crank it down. 10. Actually, you didn't even finish the animation, but it's fine. Okay. So something like this, I think. So now I should be able to transform by just pressing Touhou. Right. Then I need to make it so that if you are transformed, I also probably, okay, I also, since I want to have 3 different transforms, I'm also going to have transform a kind. And the transform kinds for now is going to be kind timer. And by default it's on kind timer. And the kind is going to be kind timer. Okay, just so that it can keep track of what's going on. If you're on this, and then in the inputs, how is it called? Inputs, handle inputs or something? Where is that one called? Handle inputs. So here, if we are transformed, we are just forwarding everything. Before that, I want to check if you're trying to do a skill. So if the transform kind, actually let me do this because maybe you will no longer be transformed after this. So if the transform kind is the timer, in that case you are not allowed to use skills. So I'm going to take the input data comments, is that a union? It's just a struct. Let me make that a union instead. And just have it as an unsigned int. And that's probably going to be about the same for that one, I guess. Looks okay. That one I think it's fine for now. So on the okay. So we can make that one a bit more readable. And we want to do this as well. So we just remove all these skills. But before doing this, if we try to do 623b, basically anything that would yield into a skill on Mamizou's side, then we untransform first, and then so we were untransform, we will go here, and then we will go inside the thing that tries to do inputs. And it should work just fine. Okay, good. So if I do 2-2, indeed I transform. And if I do 2-1-4, it doesn't work. Great. And if I do 6-2-3, I transform back. That's very funny. We also may need to add some checks actually, because right now I don't do any checks to see if you are doing something that you could cancel into a skill. So let's do that first. So if you are doing a 6-3 or I guess I'm just going to copy all of that. So frames flags, it's the same, but that one it's not the transform player, which is the internal other character. If we are doing something like this, if it's cancelable, or I jump cancelable, no, never mind. So the way it's set up is like this. So if it's not stopwatch, and you can cancel, and here I have a bunch of others check, I think. So the keys, if you can use, yeah, right. So there is also the confusion debuff. The confusion debuff is the debuff applied by discarder, the recent skill, recent spell that discards card. This and this. Okay, so I need all of that. That's quite a bit. So, and this, and this. Add one parenthesis here. And then on top of that, I also need this. Okay, that's quite a bit chunky. Otherwise, we don't do anything. We just prevent from using the skills. And right, I also forgot to add the orb cost. So for that one, I'm going to just copy how it's done in Touhou, because there is also the blue sky effect that needs to be taken into account, and I don't exactly recall how it's done, so I'm just going to copy the thing and be just fine. So it's like that. Perfect. I have it with a small b. So if we are on the very first frame, like that, we consume the orbs, and on that one we do it when we transform. Okay, so something is wrong with my thing. The condition doesn't work. It's not allowing me to transform. Maybe because I forgot to add all of these. Thus, you don't have a conversion. In more than 4A, and you have oh, and not that. Or you have more. Okay, I forgot to remove these. Okay, so let's see. Now it works. So I don't know if the cost works for the transform because of the way the practice mode work. Okay, that works. And you can transform back. Cool. So that should be it for today. So what I'm going to do next is make it so that you can use Touhou where transformed to untransform with like a smaller animation rather than having to press 6 to 3. And yeah, that do, that should be it for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time. We are the next day. I apparently forgot to do 6A, so let's just do it now. So that one is a bit different than the rest because it can be charged. So here is the regular 6A, and then on the next block there is the charged part, which has a guard crush. So yeah, so basically it's somewhat the same. There is only the charging part that needs to be handled, and obviously this as well, because it's moving forward, most likely. So for that, I need to go to the other one. For some reason it's not here. Yeah. So by default it's charged. As for the rest, it seems correct. And now what we want to do, so here it's heavy attack, and it's on frame 6. So if the pose ID is 6, then we play the heavy attack sound. That's pretty much the same, though we also need to check the block or the sequence. So it's on sequence 0, and on the other one it's frame 3. Like that. Also, we say, so actually I'm going to move that here. the way I want the charge to go is on that frame. So if we are, so basically we will go here, and then instantly when we go in that frame, if you are still charging the move, then we will go in the second block instead. So on frame, what's the frame here? So it's that one on frame 4. If we are on frame 4 and we are still charging the move, then we want to play the charging sound. Charge, attack. We go to the next sequence. And there is also the charging effect. I don't exactly recall the ID, so I'm just going to take it from Touhou. And I should have one around here. Oh, that one. Apparently I don't even need to play the sound, it's going to do it automatically. Like that. And there is also this. So we say that if you are no longer holding A, then it just stops the charge attack. And now we need to do the moving forward part. So that's probably too much. And then if you are, so she should slow down on the 7th frame. And on that one, so I'm going to move that out as well. It's basically the same. Though she's going to move faster, and yeah, just going to move faster. Probably too much. Okay. Let's not make her move backward. And yeah, that should be enough for the 6-8 to work. Alright. I also need to do the same as the Parry, where if you like that, so if you leak into the sequence 1, then you just go back to idle. That should be enough. Yeah, looks fine. Oh, that just cancels it. Right, because I need to make it else if. It's really funny. The slowdown is wrong. It should be on frame 4. effect is also not at the right place. So let's move it back. Yeah, it looks more normal here. If I compare it to another character, where is the effect? Above. The sword. And the sword here. So I guess what would make more sense, considering the effect is always on the part that will hit. I guess it should be here on the arm back. So around -60, I think, should be enough. Okay, it's not quite enough. A bit more. Now it looks good. There we go.